What is going on, Soccer Card Fiends? Hopefully you guys are having a wonderful day, and today we are here with episode number 3 of the Intro to Soccer Cards, aka Soccer Cards 101. Today we'll be talking about the stars and their best cards throughout the years. I'll be going through the top 5 rookies of every decade and breaking down what their primary rookie card is. Before I can get into that though, there's a couple things we have to talk about. The first thing is ways to find cards and information that I'm going to share with you today, because while I am going to share some rookies that we'll talk about, these aren't their only cards. There are other ones. These aren't the only players, of course, so you want to know how to go beyond that yourself, of course. So the first way that I have here is the PSA website. Very, very useful. We're going to head on over there right now. So to get to PSA's website, just type in psacard.com and it will send you on over here. Then where you're going to want to go is up at the top, it says Pop Report. Click on that. Then you can search up PSA graded items. You could type in a player's name. You could type in a set, or you go to player search, which I'm going to use right there. Then I put a player in quotations if I know that I'm spelling their name right. So I'm going to go with Iniesta right there, and then from the top it'll show you their rookies and go down from there. That's assuming if the player is good enough to be graded. There are some players where they're just not even graded, so they won't show up in this pop report. This is PSA graded cards, and so if they haven't graded any of it, then it doesn't exist here. We'll talk a bit about grading here in a moment, but if I just go down, I'll zoom in for you guys. I can see that there's a 2002 Monte Cromo La Liga. Right here we have a Superliga de Estrellas. We have another version of that, and then it goes on to the 2003 Monte Cromos. So that gives you an idea, and you can sort of sort through everything that's going on there in the pop report and give a good peek at a lot of a player's items that are available. The next thing of note is TCDB, Trading Card Database. So just go to tcdb.com, Trading Card Database. On the top there, you can then search for players, so just pick soccer. Then if you wanted to go with something like Ronaldo, for example, type it in, and then from there, pick his name down here, Cristiano Ronaldo right there, and it will sort by the year. For some reason here, not as reliable. It doesn't start with 2002, even though it should. I'll be honest, I have no clue why. This site's a little more fun for like odds and ends, and it has a lot of different stuff, as you can see here, and it also has pictures of them as well. PSA's site does not, so this makes it very, very nice. Then next, we simply have eBay. This is a great way of going about finding a player's cards along with the price that they're currently at and how many of them are readily available on a market. So for that, just go to ebay.com. Then from there, we could type in something like 2004 Messi. And after that, you will get a bunch of listings. Now, of course, before you buy anything, do your due diligence. Make sure you've checked a bunch of things. You don't just take listings for granted, but this is where a lot of purchasing goes on within the space. As you can tell, there's 507 results, so that kind of gives you an idea how much is out here. Now, there will be things that pop up that aren't actually what you're looking for, like this Ronaldinho, but that just happens a lot. If you want to see what things sold for it, you can go by sold items. Then from there, you can see all of the listings that have sold. And if you want to see what a player's most expensive card is, you can sort up here by the highest price. And then from there, it'll show you what a player has as well. If you're not sure of a player's card, just type in a player's name and a bunch of different years that they were playing, and you can kind of search through all the things that are available. And then finally, there is the PWCC sales history as well that I like to use. So to access that, go to pwccmarketplace.com. Then there will be a research section. Then from there, go ahead and click PWCC sales history. And then we could look up a Zidane and see what sort of things have sold for him. You can just go by anything. You could also sort by the highest price, whatever you want to do. You can just kind of see all the different items that are selling, different years, different stuff like that. Really fun way just to explore a player's market without really knowing too much and just being able to find as you go. So we talked about PSA. That is one of the main graders within the space. Here I have 4 listed. Grading is essentially a somewhat subjective process through which you submit a card to a grading company, and one of their graders will then determine what condition your card is in, ranging anywhere from an authentic grade to a 1, all the way then up to a 10 if it is the best possible grade that exists. And so essentially this is a way of telling you what condition your card's in and how good it is compared to the market. So we'll start with number 1, which is PSA at the moment. It is the new king within the hobby, mostly because of 2 things in my opinion. The first is that they have a buyback guarantee. So if the card's deemed to be fake later on, or there's something wrong with the condition, or there's a certain reason that they're going to have to recall it for some reason or another, they will buy back the card for market price, essentially an insurance if things go awry. In addition to that, they hand out a lot of 10s. They don't have half grading scales, so it's either a 9 or it's a 10. And when you hand out a 10, it gives the collector this perception that they're buying a perfect card. Same thing goes with the buyer or seller of the card in the future. Even though it might not be perfect, it's basically deemed by the community to be a perfect card. So I think that's why the premium gets put on there as well. Number 2 is BGS, which we have right here with this Ronaldo 2008 card. That is the old guard of the hobby. BGS used to be king, however, no longer is, and it's lagging behind pretty heavy now. It gives out 9.5s. It gives out things in half grade scales, so it gives out mostly 9.5s instead of 10s, and for that reason, I think that the community just doesn't like it as much because they don't perceive the card to be as good since it's a 9.5 and not a 10. But it also has subgrades, which I really like because then you can know what's good or what's bad with the card when you're buying it, or at least have a better idea what the grader saw when they looked at it. Then number 3, you have SGC. This is typically good for vintage grading, and it's starting to become a cheaper alternative for modern. Now, this is yet to be seen that if they'll stand the test of time, because we're currently in this situation where grading costs anywhere between $10 to $50. If you're CSG over here, you're charging 10. If you're PSA over here, you're charging 50. Back in the day, PSA was charging $10 a card. So depending on how that plays out in the future, if the prices do come back down, does SGC have as much of a spot at the table? I'm not sure. Personally, I think that their grading scale is pretty decent. From the subs that I've sent in, they make sense in terms of the grade. They're very reasonable. But the slabs don't resell for that much. So getting them graded by SGC doesn't give it much resale value. So for them to sit at $25 to $30 a card at the moment, I just think it's a little pricey. And then you have CSG as a super low end sort of way to get into it as well. They're a relative unknown in the hobby because they are new, but they are the spawn of CGC, which is a grading company whose primary focus is on the comic book space. So they do have that history there, however, not within this market. They also changed the design of their label. It's now a sort of a black label instead of this white and green. But those are the main graders to focus on within the hobby. I'd say anything graded by other companies is no more valuable than a raw card. And if it's like something super high-end graded by some random company, I wouldn't even trust it, to be honest with you. So with all that out of the way, let's talk about the best players by era. So I'm going to go by decade, but for the first little bit, it's going to be a little scattered just because I'm trying to portion it out the right way. So we're going to start with the modern prospects. I'm judging this anywhere from 2016 until now. The order is typically going to be best to worst. However, you know, it's obviously subjective. And if you guys have any people that you can think of, feel free to leave them in the comments for others to see as well. So for the 5 rookies from this era, the first one is Mbappe. He has a 2016 rookie sticker right here. This sticker, from my perspective, this sticker is the last real sticker that has staying power within the modern hobby. His rookie year was in 2016, so these things still weren't massively produced. At the same point, he also didn't have any other cards or anything else made from 2016, so that's why his 2016 sticker stands out. You could also go for 2017 Topps Chrome or other 2017 releases if you want to go that route. Erling Haaland has a fair bit of 2019 options. Personally, I like his Topps Finest the most, which is what we're looking at right here. This is the refractor version, which is a bit more scarce. There's an ongoing debate between, is his rookie card his Salzburg kit? Can he have a rookie card in his Dortmund kit? Because he does have 2019 rookies that are in a Dortmund kit. Personally, I think there's a premium on the Salzburg kit. However, you can determine that however you see fit. I just had to change a couple of the years because they were wrong, but they're fine now. Pedri is 2020, Vinicius is 2018, so I changed those. But Pedri, this here is his Peacock Choice Mosaic. Honestly, Pedri has so many rookies, and a lot of the rookies that are coming out from 2020 and beyond have so many different releases. It's incredibly hard to tell what the market is going to take to. So I would tread with a lot of caution when dealing with someone like Pedri and anything beyond that. We're not going to talk about anyone like that today in the super modern era, but just be careful. Be very careful. Even if it's numbered, that doesn't mean that it's rare, because if there's numbered stuff in 50 different sets, not really that crazy anymore. However, Pedri does have a lot of stuff, so you can definitely find some good collecting type items, maybe more so than investments. Phil Foden and Vinicius are both from the same rookie class of 2018. The 2018 optic, like we talked about in the second episode of the series, is very, very nice because it has the rated rookie up on there, so that's sort of the rookie card distinguisher. The Pedri does have a rookie card logo, as you can tell on the top left, and Haaland and Mbappe didn't have rookie card logos because they're before that time. So that is the modern prospects. There are many more, but those are the top 5 as seen by the hobby at the moment. So now moving on to the proven stars here, we are going from 2007 to 2015. These players are just a little bit older in the hobby. They're not really prospects anymore. They're more of a proven star, like the title suggests, and because of that, the hobby doesn't care as much. The hobby likes to gamble and be excited by the new flashy toy, but these guys are still, you know, amazing players that you can definitely find at a discount relative to what you'd see today, and their population or the amount of cards out there is going to be a lot less as well. So on the left hand side, we have Lewandowski in his 2008 rookie sticker set, the Extra Classe. This release is relatively small, so these are pretty rare and thus pretty expensive as well. Same can be said for Neymar in the 2009 class right there with his Abril Gold cards. This is a Brazilian release and also very, very hard to find, at least relative to what we were talking about a second ago, where you can just find, you know, rookies of the modern day everywhere. Then you have Manuel Neuer with the 2007 Champions League card right there. He also has a couple stickers that you could go for as well, depending on what you see fit. Typically, cards are more sought after than stickers and typically have less production, so I would say that that makes more sense. However, it does vary depending on circumstances, of course. With Modric, I have 2008 here as his rookie sticker. Keep in mind, this is a Euro sticker, so there's plenty of them out there. It's not anything that's going to be hard to find. And Modric does actually have rookies before this. However, you can't even find any in the PSA Pop Report, and you barely can even find a picture of them if you wanted to. So they're essentially non-existent. It could be a really fun chase if you want to go after that and really, really hunt it down. But for all intents and purposes, yeah, it's 2008 is his rookie year. And then we have Kevin De Bruyne at the 2010 year with the Belgian release right here with the Panini Football. With Kevin De Bruyne, Neymar, and Lewandowski, all three of those cards have essentially an alternate card. So in that set, there's a headshot version and an action shot. Here for Neymar and KDB, you're seeing the action shots, while with Lewandowski, you're seeing more of the portrait. So those are the proven stars. Now going into the 2000 to 2006 range, a lot of great players here. So on the left-hand side, we have Messi with his 2004 rookie. This is the Mega Crack 71 Bis. This is deemed as Messi's best card. However, he does have a lot of different rookies, so this is going to be pretty expensive. If you want to go for something lesser, there are certainly a good amount of options out there for you as well. With Cristiano Ronaldo, he has a 2002 rookie year. He also has a sticker that you could go for as well. This is his Mega Cracks in a BGS slab. Also, very, very expensive. Ronaldo doesn't have as many other options. It's just between this card and a sticker as well. If you are buying the Ronaldo sticker, we'll talk about this later in the series, but be very, very careful because there are a lot of fakes that got graded by BGS. They did not do the best that they can do, and they also don't have the buyback guarantee. So that's part of what we were talking about before with the whole grading company thing. So Ronaldo 2002 stickers, be wary. Then we have Iniesta in the middle there from 2002. He has a few different releases, so you can go about that however you like. We went through them earlier whenever I was perusing the websites to grab information from. Then we have Ramos in the 2004 Mega Crack set as well. Very interestingly, also included in the same rookie class and rookie set as Messi right there, so that's kind of fun. And then there's Dani Alves, who is a little bit more debatable at number 5. There are probably some other people you could switch on in here, but he has a 2003 Mega Fiches. There's also, I guess you could maybe throw in Zlatan and his 2000 sticker. Really, really hard to find. That's sort of a grail of this time period. However, I don't know if Zlatan quite has the accomplishments to be in this class, but if you wanted to, you could certainly add him. Now moving to the 90s legends, here we have Ronaldo, the true Ronaldo over there on the left-hand side. He has a 1994 Mundo Deportivo. There's also some other very, very notable releases for Ronaldo as well. So again, don't just assume that this is the only one, but it gives you a good idea. This is a nice one in his Brazilian kit as well. Not as great of a brand, but a very notable sticker nonetheless. Then next to that, we have a very iconic one with the Zinedine Zidane Panini foot right here from 1991-1992 set. I just love the saturated, absolutely crisp borders that you'll find on the Panini foot, like we'll see over here with Henry. Right here in the middle, we have Ronaldinho with the Campeonato Brasileiro 1999. This one is very hard to find in good grade, as are a lot of these, I would say, but the Ronaldinho in particular coming from Brazil, even a 4 or something along those lines is going to cost you a good sum of money, and even if you got removed ones, it's still not going to be anything cheap. Thierry Henry on the middle right-hand side with the 1996-1997 Panini foot. He does have an alternative rookie that you could go for as well if you'd like. This, again, just absolutely beautiful. And then there's Xavi from 1998 class. This is his Panini football. There's also a couple other options that you could go for in terms of his rookies as well, so you don't necessarily have to go with that. However, this is the most expensive, most iconic of his. The spread here is pretty interesting because some of these are basically the player's only rookie, while some of them are more rare, but not the main rookie that everyone sees. So it begs the question of what's better, having something that's more rare or having something that's going to basically be what everyone associates with someone's rookie season. If a card's more plentiful, there's really two edges to it. Either one, it can then become so iconic that it becomes someone's mainstay card, or it can be something that people don't really care about, and then it's too high population relative to the rarer one, and then people flock for the rarer one. Hard to tell, so, you gotta do that research yourself and really get in tune with what you're thinking on the subject. So going into the 1980s, here on the left-hand side, we have Van Basten's sticker rookie. This one is insanely rare to find, not gonna be easy at all, so if you want that, you're definitely gonna have to do something special for it, because, I mean, as you can tell here, this is like an early graded one, and it is a PSA 4. So that tells you how desperate people were even back then. In the spot next to that, we have Roberto Baggio in his 1985 Panini Calciatore. Along with that, we have Paolo Maldini next to him with the same set of a rookie year as well for both of those two. So very, very iconic players and a very iconic set. And again, I personally, for me, I just love like the blank color, saturated borders. I just love them so much. So those two just look amazing to me, and that's a pretty iconic one for me. Then you have Lothar Matthäus with the Fußball 1980. This is a foil version. He also has another sort of horizontal sticker from that year that you could also go for too. And then next to him, we have Eric Cantona with his 1986 Panini football. A little bit harder to find than some of the other things like the Calciatores. As we mentioned in the prior episode, the Calciatores are a lot easier to find. So if you wanted to knock two off this list a little bit easier, these would be your go-tos. And then after that, it's going to be much more of a struggle. For the 1970 era players here, the first one we have is Maradona. He has a 1977 disc. It's not like a lot of the other ones that we've shown so far. Not a sticker, it's not a card, it's actually a disc or POG. So a little different. You can go for 78 options or 79 options as well. He has very notable stickers in both of those years. Then we have Platini in 1974. A lot of different takes on this man, but overall, as far as the sticker goes, I like it. One thing that's been a little weird lately is sort of the higher grades coming into the market, so if you're going to tread that water, do so with caution. Then you have Baresi in the middle, one of the best defenders from the 70s, or I guess all time, really. He has a 1978 Panini Calciatore sticker. This one a little different than the ones that we've mentioned before. Again, always keep in mind Calciatore, a little bit more common. Love the landscapes in a lot of these 1970s pictures. I feel like that's pretty fun. Then another 1978 here is Hugo Sanchez with the Fußball Weltmeisterschaft. Again, another great looking collectible here. This is essentially the best Mexican player to ever be. Another very important player of the era and just an amazing looking sticker there. And then finally we have Zico from 1971. This is actually an extremely rare sticker. This one was taken out of an album and sold instantly in a Discord for like $4 or $5 grand. So by no means is this what you're going to judge yourself upon, more than likely. Zico does have some later issues from the mid and late 1970s. One thing that you need to know when it comes to vintage cards is a lot of these aren't defined. There are still some more out there that get found over time. Since my time being in the vintage space and just observing it from afar, there's been many different stickers and cards that I've seen that have come into the hobby. So keep that in mind. Just because you're buying something right now doesn't necessarily mean that it is the earliest year of that player's career. So go back and look and see if this matches up with the player's career, if there could be earlier years, if he was, somewhere where maybe they haven't delved as much into the hobby, maybe a country with really, really low supply, something like the Modric situation from earlier where there's essentially nothing coming to market. You never know. So just be on your toes and assume that it can happen to you unless you've done the proper research to know it's basically impossible. For the 1960s legends here, we have Cruyff to start. This is his Palarex, which is the most coveted of his rookies. He does have some other options there in the 1968 year. Definitely one of the top 10 players of all time, depending on where you have him, could be very high on that list. Then next to him, we have Franz Beckenbauer with the 1965 Bergman. A pretty hard card to obtain, but not incredibly hard in vintage standards. Then next to them, we have Eusebio with the 1961-1962 Campos da Bola. Very, very hard one to find. I mean, this one is a PSA 1 and it is highly coveted. So to think that, whatever's going to be better, and that's going to be extremely hard to find. He does have a lot of different rookie material options, but they're all very, very low pop. So really, like the 1963 Panini Calciatore is going to be like the first one that's decent pop that you could go after. Then we have Bobby Moore with the 1962 AMBC Gum. This is actually a really cool one, even though it might look a little strange. And of course, Bobby Moore being one of the best English players of all time. Next to them, we have George Best with the 1964 Barrett & Co. A cigarette style card that's a very pricey one at that. It isn't necessarily the hardest to grade, so finding a decent grade of one isn't incredibly rare. However, when they do appear, they do warrant a high premium. We're going to end it off with the 1950s. I don't have much knowledge going beyond that. It's quite a stretch for me. Here, I even cut down a person because trying to find the fifth was very hard for me. I couldn't figure it out between a bunch of different players, so I just cut them all. So on the left-hand side, we have Pele, just an absolute staple of the hobby, and this is essentially who a lot of American people and a lot of the market sees as the best player in soccer. Now that can be, easily debated. However, he's been essentially crowned that. And his rookie is mostly in 1958. He does have a release in 1957, however, but it's extremely, extremely, extremely hard to find. And he has a ton of material in 1958. So most everyone's going to be dealing in the 1958 category. If you're crazy, then, maybe 57's for you. But even if you want to buy him, it's still incredibly hard to actually be able to. But the Alifa Bulaget is essentially classified as the best Pele rookie for the time being. However, 2 years ago, that wasn't the case. And if the 57 version gets more and more hype, maybe people won't like the Alifa as much. It's really sort of this game that you play with these players that have way too many rookie cards. You never really know which one people are going to gravitate to. So that's why it's hard, even with Pele. So let alone with rookies nowadays. Just keep that in mind. Then we have Garrincha next to him from the 1955 set right here. This is a very, very rare one as well, so not going to be easy to find. It's actually easier to find a Pele rookie than it is a Garrincha. I guess it depends on what rookie you're talking about. Like I said, if we're talking about like first year Pele, then it's impossible. Then next to that, we have Yashin, possibly one of the greatest goalkeepers ever. His rookie cards are in 1958. However, these cards / stickers, none of them, at least from what I can tell, seem to be all that appealing. Like this one, there's him kind of diving right there and someone he's going up against. So it's like, you're not really getting like a clear-cut picture of him, and he's in a lot of different sets, but they all seem to be sort of the same case where it's like action shots. And so if you're into that, then that's for you. If you're not, then there are definitely a lot of other cards you can go after that are very, very cool as well. And then next to that, in 1958, also the AMBC footballer, we have a Bobby Charlton over here. He also does have other rookie material. However, this, I just believe, looks incredible and is very, very memorable compared to some of the other things that you'll find in vintage. It just sticks with you. Just the blue background, I think, and also sort of the weird hair / hairline. I don't know. It's a little jarring. It stands out. But that's essentially what I got for you guys as far as the decades defined. In terms of just some general rules here, the first one is going to be older, rarer, minter, better. This isn't a phrase that I coined. This is from SM Pratt. He does a lot of Pokemon stuff, and this is a phrase that I've taken from him and just thrown to you guys because it's the absolute truth of any hobby, because this is what everyone's looking for. You might not think it. You might think that, oh, you know, I can get by with, you know, buying some young guys now, and eventually I'll go worry about that stuff. But everyone that's trying to learn, that's trying to progress, that's trying to get better in the hobby, that's really enjoying themselves, that's one thing also. You do want to enjoy yourself. So if you don't like going for older, rarer, minter cards, then you don't have to. That's okay. But if you're truly someone that's going to be collecting and you have this endless desire to go and learn more and find more and dig into the deeper trenches than other people do, then this is what you're going to want to do. You're going to want to go for older cards, rarer cards, minter cards, and you'll be in the best spot possible. You can't really go wrong with that formula. Now, one thing is a caveat. They do have to be cards people care about. So it can't be a really old card that's really rare, that's really in good condition, of a player no one gives a shit about. So that is the one thing I will caveat it with. Assuming it's a player that people care about, these fundamentals will lead you to the best place possible. So please employ them along your way of searching, and when you're trying to find all of the players that we talked about today and any more beyond that, when you're looking for their early or even middle of their career cards, take this into account. Essentially leading us to this. Knowledge is power within the hobby. The more you learn, the more you dig, the more you enjoy, and the more that you watch from this channel as we go forward through the Soccer Cards 101 series, the better off you will be. So yet again, that is it for this episode. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. If you did, make sure to leave a like. I'd appreciate it greatly. If you want to see more videos like this as soon as I go live, make sure to subscribe. And of course, if there's anything you'd like to tell other people along this journey, feel free to drop in a comment down below, as I'm sure it could help them as well. But with that said, hopefully you guys have a wonderful day, and peace.